The Industrial Revolution and women's role in society. The Industrial Revolution led to the rise of middle class, which created the cult of true womanhood and domesticity. Life before the Industrial Revolution. Before the Industrial Revolution, everybody in the family worked in the store or on the farm, except for wealthy families. Women helped out on the farm and ran a household. Women might also work in the family store. The Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution began in America in the end of the 18th century. The Industrial Revolution was a movement in which America moved towards factories and machines. Also, communication and travel methods were expanded. During the Industrial Revolution, things like farming and sewing clothes were made easier. Overall, the quality of life was improved during the Industrial Revolution. Samuel Slater opened the first textile mill in 1790. A textile mill is a factory that poor women often worked in and made cotton fabric. The expansion of the railroad also was part of the revolution. The railroad enabled people to travel faster and connected them to city life and resources. The telegraph also shaped the Industrial Revolution because people were able to send messages very quickly and connect with other people. During the Industrial Revolution, men could work in a factory to support their family, or they could work on the farm. In a factory, a man could work and the money he made would be enough to support his family. A man could work on the farm and certain machines would make planting and harvesting easier. Therefore, the entire family was not needed to work on the farm. The Industrial Revolution formed the middle class of America. In a middle class family, the man usually worked as a merchant, lawyer, doctor, teacher, a farmer, a higher paid factory worker, and other jobs similar to that. The women stayed at home, cared for the children, and ran the household. When husbands would go off to work, it cemented the view that women were too fragile to do anything but produce children and run a household. During the Industrial Revolution, poor families and rich families were not affected. In a poor family, the entire family might go to work in a factory, or they might stay on their farm, but otherwise, their lives stayed the same. In a rich family, the man continued to work at his high-paying job, and the women stayed at home and managed the servants. Meanwhile, out of the poor rose a new class, the middle class. In a middle-class family, the husband can do a day's work without the help of the rest of his family and still be able to support his family. Since the husband was off at work and women were free to do different things, a new idea and expectation of women emerged.
The cult of domesticity and true womanhood was an ideal in which women needed to be pure and submissive and needed to have domesticity and piety. During this time, the most important thing for a woman was to get married. Unmarried women were said to be insane and mentally unfit. A woman could not own property, so being married allowed them to have a place to live. Since marriage was so important, a woman tried to be pure and submissive and have domesticity and piety so that they could attract a spouse and be wed. Piety is the quality of being religious. Americans believed that without religion, a woman could go astray. Purity is the freedom from contamination. When a woman did not have sexual purity, she was considered lower than the rest of society. Any young woman considered loss of purity to be worse than death. To be submissive was to yield to your husband. A woman was supposed to understand her limits and know her place in society and in the home. The clothing worn at this time, such as corsets and long skirts, decreased mobility. Domesticity was a measure of how well a woman could run her home and family life. Housework was viewed as an uplifting task and a task only women could do. Women and men were considered different, physically and intellectually. Women's inferiority was based on the fact that women were smaller than men, they had less physical stamina, and the unpredictable nature of the female reproductive system. Women were also considered to be intellectually inferior to men. At the time, intelligence was based on the ratio of brain to body weight. This method was later abandoned because women had a higher brain to body weight ratio than men. The cult of domesticity and true womanhood quickly spread throughout America. It was mentioned in religious journals, newspapers, advice journals, and most notably, Goody's Lady's Book. Goody's Lady's Book was a women's journal that had high subscription rates across the country. The journal encouraged piety, purity, domesticity, and submissiveness through articles, pictures, cooking recipes, and even sewing patterns. Overall, before the Industrial Revolution, entire families worked together on the farm or in a factory. During the Industrial Revolution, middle-class families rose out of the poor. In the middle-class family, the husband could support the family without the help of the rest of the family. This caused women to have new responsibilities, and the cult of domesticity and true womanhood came to be. The cult created a new idea of women, and the women adapted to this new idea.